We continue on with Morning at NTV, and now it's the time where we take note. One of the things that we intend to take note on this morning is small and medium enterprises and how exactly they can actually continue to be competitive amidst the economic crisis that is being faced, not just in Uganda, but within the region, across the entire continent of Africa and the entire globe. But again, in relation to the first publication of the Monitor, which was on the 31st of July 1992. Looking at some of the business stories that were released on that day, new hope for coffee farmers. We all know the first half of this year has been about coffee and a certain madam and the government, and things need to go, as planned, thanks to the Parliament of Uganda actually annulling that contract. But here you get to look at a story that was done by Sebunya Crespo. New hope for coffee farmers. Uganda coffee farmers may, after all, benefit from international coffee organizations that are cropping up and sidestepping players of middlemen to deal with farmers directly. Another business story: trade booms across Lake Victoria. Trade in rice and sugar from Tanzania is booming at Uganda's Port on Lake Victoria, with the resumption of the marine services between the port and Mwanza aboard motor vessel Bukoba. That's very interesting. I want to find out from Byaruhanga, who's from ECOS this morning, what he thinks of business, small and medium enterprises 30 years down the road. Good morning to you, Jimmy.
Good morning, Priscilla.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on NTV this morning. 30
years ago, what have you seen small and medium enterprises grow into?
Thank you, Priscilla. We have actually witnessed the evolution of small and medium enterprises from small neglected businesses into entities that government is interested in, that donors are interested in. We've seen an evolution from survival businesses into growth-oriented enterprises, large enterprises, multi-conglomerates that people are very interested in partnering with, and that have grown to support both private and public sector, that have gone on to support various sectors, sports, that are supporting agricultural. We've seen government pick interest in SMEs over time. So the last 30 years have seen the emergence of industry associations, FSME, USIA, and all these are coming in to advocate for small and medium enterprises who initially were just neglected businessmen. Come in with your idea, start something, go for it, make it prosper. But now government is interested, URA is interested, the Export Promotion Board is interested. So that is what has been the journey for SMEs, and very many other things that we could talk about.
All right, Jimmy and I are going to be taking note on supporting SMEs to stay afloat. Now, 30 years ago, no one anticipated that the world would actually shut down for close to 2 years because of a global pandemic. The reality is that it has happened, and therefore we've got to find ways of helping SMEs either reopen their doors, trust the system once again, and hope that they can achieve their goals that they set out to achieve when they opened their doors to the businesses that they are engaged in. But one of the challenges is competitiveness. There's no longer that urge to compete. One, maybe the markets are not favorable. We have constantly had the conversation of demand is when we will have supply, but the demand seems to be reducing day by day because of the economic crisis. So Jimmy Byaruhanga, with ECOS, first help us understand what is ECOS and what is ECOS intending to do in order to help SMEs stay afloat.
Once again, thank you, Priscilla. ECOS simply stands for Enhancing the Competitiveness of Small and Medium Enterprises in Uganda. It is a project that is funded by GIZ with the support of the Norwegian Embassy and the government of Uganda, the line ministry being the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Commerce. So we are looking for 1,000 SMEs all over the country to be able to support them in areas of innovation and digitalization, quality management, market development, and access to finance. Which sectors are we targeting? We are looking at SMEs in agriculture, in construction, in manufacturing, tourism and hospitality, and green businesses. We want to be able to support them post-COVID, or even as we come out of COVID, having suffered all the shocks that they suffered. We all know SMEs are never ready for the shocks like what happened. So the immediate situation or the immediate solution is always to reduce on the number of staff, deploy their finances elsewhere, and so they end up closing. We saw most of them closing because of unpreparedness. What is ECOS planning to do? It is saying, yes, the shocks were here, but how do we come out of them? We want to empower you, we want to train you, we want to coach you, we want to mentor you. There's always gold in new ideas. At times we think we know the best way to run our businesses until you get shocked like COVID shocked us. So they are experts, they are people who have come through shocks before, like the Spanish flu that hit the world. There are people who came out of it. Some businesses have been able also to survive because they chose different approaches to doing business. Some decided to go online, others actually just decided to venture into other value chains. ECOS wants to concretize that. It wants to build on that and support businesses to become export ready, to standardize their products, and they get Q marks so that they are able to get into new markets like the Congo market, which is opening up now. So that is ECOS in a nutshell, and that is what we intend to do.
Okay, and how many people businesses are you actually intending to aid with what you're doing, enhancing competitiveness?
That's a good question, Priscilla. I mentioned that we are aiming to mobilize 1,000 businesses, and then we will support the 1,000 over a period of 2 years. So it's not a come, train, and go away. It's not a come, handhold, and go away. It is walking the journey with an SME to be able to concretize this support within the businesses, cement it within the business. It's not disseminating knowledge. It is receive the knowledge, and we show you how the knowledge applies within your business for a period of 2 years. After the 2 years, probably if other private sector players come on board or GIZ is happy with the impact, then there will be an extension so that we continue to support more. There's also something I wanted to add at this point, Priscilla. There's juice for the SME, there's juice for the private sector, juice for the public sector, but also juice for interns. There's this story we always cry about, experience. Graduates who are just coming out of school. The ECOS project has beautified it. It is saying, for the SME, we are going to give you inexpensive labor. But for the intern or for the student, for the graduate, we want you to get experience. So the project becomes holistic and comprehensive. The training is offered, the coaching is offered, the mentoring is offered, so the SME can move from one step to another. But also for the young person out there who is saying, how do we tap into these opportunities? Where do we get the experience we are always asked for? They get an opportunity to be affiliated to an SME, and these are not provided necessarily by us. Some of them could be your relatives within the business, but for as long as they have come out of school, they are looking for a job, we are happy to know that they are affiliated to an SME and that they are gaining the experience they need, while the SME is also growing. One particular thing I want to mention, and that should come out clearly, is that if you're an SME and you have products that you've never standardized, and let me just share a story. We've been going around the country and we met a woman in Moroto. This woman told us, I get my honey from Moroto Mountain. I bring it down here. I find a businessman who buys it from me at 5,000. Then they add value and they take it to Mombasa and sell it at 4 times the price. We told her that is why ECOS is here. Because if you're such a woman, then we are able to support you standardize that product according to the standards catalog from the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. You get a Q mark for your product, then it can enter supermarkets. Once it enters supermarkets, slowly you begin to penetrate the regional market, the Congo market. Then it can go to Netherlands, it can go to Ethiopia, it can go to other markets. And then also for those who want to export, there's the export readiness journey. So we are working with the Uganda Export Promotion Board, and Dr. Eli Twinewe is very passionate about this, to see you move from one person who produces for Lira alone into a person who takes your product to Germany.
Okay, and with the tours that you have done across different regions in Uganda, what has been the response of some of these SMEs in regards to what you intend to help them, you know, especially in promotion of their businesses, also showing them the path to exporting and standardization of their services and products?
Beautiful. The reactions have been mixed, Priscilla, I must mention. There are SMEs who have reclined to it is my business, I must manage on my own. There are also SMEs who are very hungry for support, and they have said, for us, we will take it on, we will apply for this project, and if the support comes, we will utilize it. So around the country, there have been previous projects that have been implemented. Some have worked out well, some have not worked out well, both by government and by the private sector. But SMEs definitely need help. No matter what the experience has been, we want to encourage SMEs to participate in the ECOS project so that we are able to support them and move them from whatever situation they are in, because that is our overarching goal. We want to create at least 3,000 new jobs. We want to improve the working conditions for employees. You find workers who are, for example, in a welding, a metal fabrication workshop, and they don't have gloves. They don't have these glasses that they put on.
Gear.
Protective gear is lacking. So what we are saying as ECOS, we want to empower SMEs. And beyond empowerment, I should mention that some SMEs, those that actually perform well on the project, will be supported to go for learning visits out of Uganda, to be able to see how SMEs in Germany do it, depending on your sector, how SMEs in the Dutchland do it, and stuff like that.
Okay, and at the end of the 2 years of this project, you may shut down. What would be the end goal?
That's a good question, Priscilla. Every project has a timeline, so we start and we finish. Now, our initial closing date will be October 2023, because we kicked off in November 2021, and we've been working on a lot of preliminary work. But if the project is very successful, and I hope it is, with the participation of SMEs, who knows, other private sector players could come on board. The donors themselves could actually say, let's extend this project for another 2 years, and that will be great support for more SMEs within our motherland, Uganda.
Okay, the other question that I have for you is that right now, you know, SMEs are struggling. Standardization is one of the things that they're struggling with, but also to just stay afloat and keep their doors open for business and expectation that things should become better. How is the private sector actually trying to help them stay afloat?
You will realize that the work of SME or enterprise development is supposed to be the work of government. And the private sector really comes in to support. It comes in to support. So the role of the private sector is really a support function. Now, how do they come in to support? There are so many various projects that are around. I've seen the MasterCard Foundation, I've seen UDB, I've seen PSFU. All these are coming around to say, we want to support SMEs. Now, there is the issue of thinking that every SME's challenge is access to finance. No. We've been going around the country, and the first thing you hear, how much money are you giving us? We tell the SMEs, it's not always the money. Sometimes it's the habits of the entrepreneur. Sometimes it is just you separating your personal finance and your business finance. So the issues to support SMEs are all round and not entirely tied to finance. But for the private sector, where they come in with capacity building. Because while you think that your challenge is money, you need to have a mindset change around that money. How to manage money within a business, how to manage your own personal finances. If you're an SME who comes every evening, you're a survivor SME, you come every evening, you pick 100,000 from the business, your staff are going to start to steal from you also, because you're paying them little, you're taking money, so they think for you you're more loaded than them.
Well,
so private
clearly,
sector... Private sector support, as I wrap it up, Priscilla. Private sector support. And I use this opportunity to call other private sector players to come and join ECOS, to come and join the GIZ and the Norwegian Embassy, to be able to support more SMEs through skilling, through empowerment, and also through funding, because SMEs actually, some are tired of just training without financial support. Okay,
Jimmy, how does one get to apply for ECOS project?
The ECOS project, we've sent out a call, and you can write to us on email. It is ecosgizproject@gopa.de. That is ecosgizproject@gopa.de. Once you write to that email, someone, Brenda, myself, Florence, or Naomi, will be able to reach you and support you in applying for the project. Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Jimmy Byaruhanga, with ECHOS, enhancing the competitiveness of small and medium enterprises. And I know that you are one of them, or you know someone who is among them. You can actually just extend this message to them so that they can benefit and make their businesses better and also regional or even global for them.